Peace, everybody. It's Miss Marianna, and I am here with Refreshing Convos, and I am so happy that you have returned. For those of you who are new to me, welcome, welcome, welcome. This is the space where we come together and have healthy conversation that ushers in exploration for folks who are in positions of community leadership. And that can happen at a variety of capacities. That can be as an artist, that can be as an activist, that can be in education. There's so many ways that we show up in leadership and community. But the reason why I wanted to create Refreshing Convos is so that we're not only showing up in the light parts, right? It's so easy for us to shine and show where we're good and how we're living our best lives. But the reality is most people who are in positions of leadership have to work diligently to work through their darkness, work through their challenges, and push to overcome. It's my goal to make sure that we have space to share that part too. When we share that part, it frees us up from any guilt or shame from lessons learned, but it also allows people to not learn from just our good, but also the things that we struggle through. And so today I want to tell you, if you are new, hit the subscribe button. I forgot I'm supposed to do that. I'm supposed to promote myself and tell you to hit the subscribe button so you can come back for more, because you never know who might resonate with you in a special way. And even if it's someone who doesn't necessarily flex in life on the specific sector or topic that you're in, there's always some good jewels and gems being dropped just in terms of being healthy human beings who are striving to work in alignment with the Creator. So today I have my special guest here, and I'm very grateful because I've known this brother, I want to say, maybe like 15, 20 years, okay? And it was through artistry, right? We're both MCs in the community. He was tearing it up, always had a good, positive, conscious message, and one of those few brothers that carried himself in an upright way, right? Sometimes people are trying to blow up and become famous, and they'll do a whole lot of risky things in the way they represent their image and their likeness. And so I always had a genuine respect for him because he always carried himself as a man of God. Also, too, an amazing father and husband who is active and shares that with community, but also now has gone into some amazing business ventures in his leadership and community. So I want to invite y'all, we're going to cue the applause in right now. Yay! For my brother, Chad Johnson.
You just want to protect this person. I am their shield. They don't know how the injury law world works. I want to protect them. I want them to have a fair chance. So you have to have a mindset of basically a protector. And that requires you to be really aggressive, and you have to be more prepared than people on the other side.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. So
Welcome.
glad to be here.
Man.
So glad to be here.
We've been trying to get together to do this for a minute. So I love busting myself out, right? I was trying to call you one day. What'd I say? I said, we need to do some work together. What happened? What'd I called you? What'd I say to you? You remember?
You were like, what did you say? I don't know.
I was like, I love your positive energy, and we're from the same place, and we need to be doing some positive work together. I see you doing your content. Right. But it was difficult because of our schedules. What happened?
We just kept going back and forth. We got on the calendar, then we got off the calendar.
Right. Life was lifing.
Yeah, but
you have a son who's super duper basketball star.
I got a hooper that keeps us busy, keeps me running around.
And it was so funny too, because I was like, well, when is basketball season over? He's like, it ain't when he get the scholarship. That's
when it's over, right? So hit me in 2029.
Right. And then I think you had a loved one make their transition too.
Yeah, I had a frat brother who passed.
Yeah.
And that threw a monkey wrench in everything.
Yeah.
But we worked through it.
Good.
And look, here we are.
You had a good homegoing ceremony for him?
It was amazing.
Beautiful.
Yeah, we got together. When somebody passes like that, it does bring people together.
Yeah.
Who otherwise
wouldn't see each other in a long time.
Wouldn't see each other. So we got together, we loved on each other, and we've continued that dialogue.
Very good.
That's how God does things.
Good. Yeah.
So the cycle of life.
With that, it took us about 3 months to be able to sit down. So I called him up. I was like, look, I don't know what we're going to do, but I got a podcast now. Since you've been gone, I had a podcast. So I'm going to just yank you over there. And then we had to negotiate the dates for that too.
Right.
So I'm super grateful that you're here.
I'm so glad to be here. I appreciate you.
Yeah. And so, the reason why, like I said earlier, I created this space is because I know some amazing leaders who I consider geniuses who make impact in community. But oftentimes people see us in the glow up and they're not in the know up about what it took for us to get to where we are. But before we get into your current work, I would like to know a little bit about, your upbringing. I don't really know about you outside of being a dope MC and sharing a few stages with you. So tell me where you're from and who's your people. Give me some family background.
Yeah, so my family, I grew up in Texas. I started out in Texas. So up until the age of 10, I was in Sherman, Texas. So I'm from the South. And both of my parents are from Texas. So, and then my parents, they kind of split up. They went through a situation where they split up, and one of my parents came to California. And then when they reconciled, they reconciled back out here in California.
They got back together?
They got back together.
You don't hear that a lot.
Yes, it's a blessing. They still together. Shout out to Kay and Larry Johnson.
Hey, Kay and Larry. Shout out to love.
Thank you for working it out.
Thank you. Look, you did good. You did good.
Yeah. So they got back together, and we moved to Marin County. And I did junior high in Marin County. Okay. Where I was like the only black kid in the white neighborhood.
What was that like?
I mean, I didn't know nothing. I loved it at the time. You know, I made all my white friends. I got exposed to all the stuff that they do, all the recreational activities and the different levels of income and different size houses and vacations and stuff.
Now, was there a longing or a missing? Because coming from Texas, you was around black folks in Texas, right?
Yeah. I mean, my life in Texas, it started off kind of with some drama. Seemed like it was just always drama.
Okay, well, come on. We want some of that. I want to know just a little bit. Give me the Netflix synopsis.
Well, okay, so I talked about my parents splitting up. Yeah. So before they split up, it was economic problems. We was moving a lot. We was in a different house. I was in a different school every semester, every year. Yeah. Sometimes halfway through the year, just moving a lot. And then they weren't getting along. And, back then it was just like, it's just like a lot of stress on a child. Yeah. Watching adults growing up at the same time as I'm growing.
Were they young parents?
Everybody. I mean, they're in their 20s and
that's
early
young.
30s, but that's young.
That's
to be
young.
raising the kid, as we got older kids
I have
now.
22. No, 21.
Right.
Going on 22. That's young.
Right. And I remember I was 24 when I had my first child. And I just, in hindsight, I'm like, man, 24 years
that's
old.
Wild.
I just growing up, and my parents was getting it together. Okay. And, dealing with that drama.
How did that show up on you? Because a lot of what we're here to explore is the impact of trauma and then the overcoming it. So you're able to recognize that it was stressful as a child. How was that showing up? What were some of the things that you were doing that either expressed that or internalized? How was that affecting you as a 10-year-old?
I was a bad kid. I was the bad girl.
See, you here and then the dark side. Here we go.
Yes.
So what does that mean? What does bad look like for a 10-year-old in Texas?
I was gangster. I was getting in fights. I was getting sent.
You were beating people up?
Girl, I was getting sent to the principal's office, getting kicked out of class.
So you're angry? Is it fair to say you're angry?
I was angry or just trying to get attention, because I felt like, I wasn't necessarily, mad or angry or anything. I was about that life though. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I grew up in a neighborhood where, either you were going to get bullied or you were going to stand up for yourself. Okay. I remember, and again, we were moving around a lot. So I was always the new kid in the school. So sometimes it was cool, and sometimes, I was getting chased home, or sometimes I was getting in a fight. Or
how did your parents respond to this activity as a young child?
Honestly, I don't even remember. I think they were dealing with their own.
That's what I was getting at.
You know what I mean?
So they was busy going through their stuff, and you was trying to figure out life and wilding out and protecting yourself.
Me and I had an older brother too.
Was he whooping everybody up too?
He was right out there with us.
Let me find out y'all was the bullies of Texas, and that's the real reason why your parents divorced, because y'all was crazy beating everybody up.
It wasn't even being bullies. It was it was just, that was the neighborhood.
Yeah.
That was the neighborhood. Sometimes we got the good. We were on the good side. Sometimes we're on the losing end.
But that's a big contrast coming from that to Marin, to all your white friends with nice houses and lifestyles.
Yeah. So it was a culture shock. So I had to really, it was like dropping me into this environment where I didn't know, I had to adjust, and I didn't really know how to make that adjustment initially.
So did someone come along to help you make that adjustment, or you just had to figure it out on your own? And what did that look like?
White people were new to me. They were new to me.
Right.
I came from a place where my teachers were black.
Everybody.
Friends, everybody was black. So
right.
These white kids, they were just new to me. And I had a couple of them who just, embraced me, and we're friends to this day. Fifth grade, from the fifth grade, they embraced me. And then I had other, I had to deal with the racism.
Yeah.
And I got my opportunity to show them that I'm
from Texas. You're
this
like,
how we deal with racism.
Don't let the spoon taste fool you out here, Marin. You can get it.
You can get it out here. And I don't care about going to the principal's office. I'm not scared of that.
So coming through this culture shock, finding your way, making friends, learning new people, some people would say that would be detrimental for the development of a young black man. And there's kind of like that contrast, like, okay, I'm in a safer environment, right? And I'm not fighting or beating folks up every day,
right? But
also, too, culturally, not having the connectivity that can be comforting for us. Right. So this is 10. So now you're in elementary, going into middle school. What is your life becoming at that point?
This is when I started getting into sports. Okay. And like I said, I was blessed to have some really good white friends.
Okay.
Like at a very young age. Okay. Some that really just treated me, I used to come to their house and they just say, yeah, have whatever, go in the fridge, go in the refrigerator. I'd be like, you mean just go in your fridge and get snacks? I go to their house, they had unlimited snacks, and it was just like a different world. And I really I can't think of anything really negative about my life once I moved to Marin.
Okay.
I loved it. I loved them white people.
Okay, wait a minute. Hold on. Wait. I mean? So, look, I'm honoring the honesty in your expression.
Yeah.
But at the same time, to me, you're a very down-to-earth brother, and I've never considered you to be pro-black, right. But I don't see you like you're unapologetically black. I see you representing your culture.
Of course.
Was there a point once you started hanging around with your white friends and drinking their Sunny D and stuff like that you did get exposed to black community, or have you been around white people all your life and you just love them up to this point still?
No, 10th grade. Okay. So 10th grade, fifth grade. I'm sorry, okay. Fifth grade. Up until 10th grade, I was around all white people, right? So I kind of adjusted. I kind of evolved a little bit.
What does that mean?
In a way. And I kind of took on their culture. Like I kind of
that's what I was trying to get to.
Yeah.
Okay.
I kind of lost the hood, or the need to be. I would peg my pants, and I had my hair cut. And me and my wife were just talking.
Let me find, did you perm your hair? Did you get it?
Girl, S curls, but I had my S
you still, wait, hold on. All the black ones gone. You had the box unit. You had the box, okay.
Yes. So it got to the ninth, when I got to the ninth grade, my parents moved to Vallejo.
Oh, look, they was trying you, huh?
They was like, okay, enough of that.
Balance that out a little bit more.
Let's balance that out.
Okay, it got real
that was
quick.
Another culture shock.
So what was Vallejo like for you?
Vallejo, now all my black, so I had sports, so that always kind of gave me
a connection to everybody. Okay.
Right? Because I was athletically gifted. So that helped. But my black friends, they was like on my head.
They was like, you better take them pegs out your pants.
Yeah,
Bruh.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that's saying it nice. You know what I mean? I was kind of ostracized. So, but then I always had my foundation was Sherman, Texas.
Right.
So I really, just because my vernacular kind of changed, they say I talk white and stuff like this. I'm still.
But did you though?
I'm still.
Did you? Okay. As long as you know, that's all I want to make sure.
I did. Okay. But that helped me later on. That helped me later on in life. You know.
Right.
But I did start to realize, this is comfortable to me. Mm-hmm. So now I got the best of both worlds. I could be in any environment and just be comfortable.
Okay.
You know, I don't care if it's all black people or all white people. I'm okay. I'm okay with that.
So it sounds like being in such extremely contrasting environments, although maybe you attach to some of the social nuances and changes and shifts in those areas, figuring out who you are, somewhere in there became a deep self-awareness. Where did that come? Where you were like, okay, I got to figure out how to be me and be authentic, like you're saying, no matter who I'm around. Is that when Vallejo happened?
Vallejo.
And so in what particular way did that teach you how to be yourself?
Well, first of all, I had started to realize how much of my own culture that I kind of let go. You know, I kind of
Talk to us.
I had to remember that you are black.
Right.
You are a black man.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I mean, I knew it, but I didn't know the difference. You know, I wasn't really conscious of the nuances of why my black friends were saying I acted white. I didn't understand it. I was just being me, you know? But over time, I started to realize, I started to see the difference. I started to see, there are some things that I'm doing that may be offensive to black people because they're like, wait a second, are you white? Do you understand where you come from? Or are you know? And then...
How did you navigate those questions? Like, were they legit asking you that?
No, they just did it socially.
Okay.
You know, they kind of did it
How did that make you feel?
Well, like, for example, talking to girls, like black girls, they not into that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And what was that?
Huh?
What was that?
I mean, they're not into the, when you don't know your culture.
Right.
And you acting like you're white and black skin. Or,
right.
You know, or you... And I didn't feel like I was acting white.
You didn't really realize
I was just being who I was.
You were kind of a product of the environment that you'd been in for that Spanish.
Formative years.
Yeah.
Junior high school, you know.
So was you hurt because the sisters wasn't giving you no play because you was acting like a white boy?
They just wanted to be my friend. Now,
you got friend zone.
I was always in the friend zone.
You was the friend zone. Okay. So were you starting to date other people outside of your culture at that time?
Yeah, but I mean, I wasn't really big into girls at the time.
So I
was more into sports.
Sports, okay.
I was more into sports.
Well, if you was an athlete like your son, the one son is an athlete, you didn't have no time for no girls.
Right. And they wasn't really giving me that, and I'm okay. I was just okay with
okay.
You know, I just wanted to be friends with everybody.
Yeah.
You know? So by the time I'm a senior, so I went 10th, 11th, and 12th grade at Hogan High School in Vallejo. So now I have adapted.
Right.
Now
I'm back.
I'm back, but I'm just well-rounded.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I'm good in my skin.
Yeah. Sometimes it takes us to be disconnected from our root.
Yeah.
To explore other people, places, environments, to figure out who we are.
Exactly. Absolutely. And I think that combination, the way that I grew up from being in Sherman and then being in Marin County and then being back in Vallejo, that has set the foundation for where I am today.
In what way?
It just allows me because I have to be able to communicate with every culture.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
And with clients who are going to judge you by how you talk to them. I know how to code switch. I can code switch with the best of them, you know?
Now, that's a controversial topic, code switching, right? Because there was a point in time in my life where I would say I was proud of being code switching, right? I think I'm in a place now where I'm not for code switching. And let me explain why, because I think there's some good dialogue in this.
Yeah.
Is that the way you described all of those places brought you to the point that you are today. There's something about society that makes us feel like we have to choose in order to be able to connect.
Yeah.
And I'd like to know more insight on when you say I can code switch, because it sounds like you feel in your experience, it's a good thing for you. For me, I'm getting to a point where I realize I don't necessarily have to switch anything, right? Like just as I'm sitting here as a community colleague, I'm still a mama, a auntie, a sister, friend. They're still here.
I agree.
But I think that this conversation is shaping up into the exploration of identity, right?
Yeah.
So I would love for you to dive into what code switching means for you and why you see that valuable, so that people can, on the inside in, who some feel it's necessary, some feel it's don't, some people feel like it may be a little bit of both. Why is code switching important for you? And what does it mean to you first?
Okay, yeah, and that's a good question.
Yeah.
So for me, code switching is basically only for the white people. That's all we need to do, right?
Okay.
We need to, there's environments where I need to make white people feel comfortable, right?
Why?
Because I'm an attorney and I have to advocate for my clients, and I need to be able to portray myself in a way that not only doesn't make my clients uncomfortable, because I have clients who they have their own judgments, their own ways of doing things.
Well, what about you would make them feel uncomfortable if you didn't code switch for them? I'm curious. Because you're a delightful person.
Well, I'm delightful, but...
And intelligent.
Yeah.
And you're good at what you do.
Right.
This is not pushback. This is exploration.
I love it because you're making me think about it. You're making me think about it.
That's what we're here for.
I would say that... Okay, and let me just back up. I will back up and say that I'm 49 now, so
you a grown man.
The code switching has kind of dialed down.
Okay.
Now I wear my hoodies.
Right, I see the little T-shirt underneath the blazer. Okay,
I mean that's not. It's different.
You be on TikTok dancing in your office.
So I will say that as of in the last several years, I've been more comfortable in my skin.
So maybe in your younger years with your profession, you believed you had to code switch maybe more often or harder?
Yeah, and...
What's changing?
I think, you get older and you just don't care what people think as much. You just want to be yourself. I don't have time.
So there's been an evolution that's happened.
There has.
I'm glad we explored this.
Well, I will say that there is still some code switching.
Okay.
So let me give you an example. When I have certain cases, if they're really complex cases, they're then I'll bring in lawyers who have more experience than me, who have more resources than I do, and I'll have to I don't want them to join with me on the case.
Right.
And when I do that, I have a meeting with them, and I basically have to sell this case to them. Right.
That's real.
So I've had conversations with lawyers where they're like, yeah, I can't believe these guys, they don't even wear suits and ties to work anymore and blah, blah, blah. Right. And I know what I do. I don't wear suits and ties to work. I wear sweats and
so you gonna put that suit and tie on it.
Girl, if I'm meeting with you to get you to help me with this case, and I know that you want me to, if you think lawyers need to wear suits and ties, I don't have a problem. I don't have any problem.
But that's interesting because I don't see that as code switching. Well, so what is
why can't I wear my sweats?
So but answer the question then. What is code switching to you?
I think code switching is doing, adjusting what I would do in my culture to make someone in your culture feel comfortable. Basically.
Well, that might be confused with assimilation.
Well, it's just assimilation is more permanent, isn't it? It seems like code switching is just for the moment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'll code switch for you in this conversation.
I'll put this tie on you to get this case.
Right.
But okay, so this is really good. I love this. I love this. So maybe we're looking at code switching more on a spectrum now. Okay. That's what it sounds like this conversation is evolving to. Okay. Because even in you describing when you were younger, you code switched probably more frequently and more hardcore in the spirit of trying to prove yourself.
Trying to fit in.
Now at 40, right, now at 49, you're depending on your intelligence and your skill set, not the way your attire is or your language per se, because even in you're talking in your casual, comfy space, like you're a down to earth brother to me, but I can also hear a level of articulation that most people would say comes from Marin County, right? And this is the same for me. Like when I'm speaking to people, I might lean into the auntie and start sounding like an old big mama.
Right.
And then there might be times based on how I'm inspired, my articulation and my vocabulary is a little bit more beastie.
Use different words or whatever.
But I don't see that as code switching. I think that's operating in my fullness and exercising the right to lean into it. So I don't know. I think there's something to this.
Well, maybe I'm not code switching. Maybe I just have a white, like you said, I'm just all of that.
We're not a monolith.
Don't put me in that box. You know? And I could talk your language. I could speak your language. It's just like when I talk about mindfulness and meditation.
Ooh, now you fast forward and hold on. Okay, fine. Not to cut your wisdom, right? No, because we're going there. We're going there. And I'm trying to do better about making sure the podcast don't end up 30 minutes. Look, that's why I be looking at the producer all the time, like, where we at? I'm long-winded, y'all. So wait, this is a perfect lead up, because I think the very thing that maybe in the beginning of your career, you thought you had to code switch to prove yourself, right? And the way society grooms us to think to be successful, we got to be white.
Right.
We make professionalism synonymous with acting white, right? And we saw that with our mom on the phone, but you could tell she talking to somebody different. That ain't auntie on the phone, right? But I think it's important for us to have this conversation, especially in positions of leadership. Because some people might be dogmatic towards code switching. I don't say I'm code switching. I don't identify with that. But when I talk to you and have this expression with you and this exploration with you, what I'm realizing is I see it as I have a tool belt.
Yes.
I'm never not bringing the tools with me. They're always there.
Right.
But what job would be executed with a hammer is going to be different than with a screwdriver.
Exactly.
I don't think I'm being any less genuine if I pick up the hammer to get the job done, as opposed to the screwdriver, which it's not meant for that activity to get the job done.
Absolutely.
And I think as people of African descent in higher positions of leadership and education and empowerment, we're still referring to it as code switching. But the very thing that you said to me that's super powerful is that as you've gotten older and more mature, you're actually less dependent on trying to prove something through code switching. It's you sitting in your confidence in your skill set to where you could put a hoodie on, and if they choose not to work with you, I'm probably sure you're getting closer, and correct me if I'm wrong, to not all business is business for you anyway. If I have to be disingenuous to who I am, and you believe that my level of intellect and skill set is any different because I come in with a goddess mode hoodie on,
right,
I probably don't want to serve you and work with you. What's your input or what's your insight and reflection on that part?
That is exactly.
Is that where you are?
Yeah, and that's freeing, And
because I see the gold chain twinkle and the tennis shoes on.
I do what I do now.
Right.
Now I do whatever I do, But there was a time where I felt like I needed to, fit the part, and there was some. There's like this imposter syndrome.
There you go.
I
just talked about that the other day.
Fit. Maybe I don't fit. But this is I grew up in a hip hop culture.
There you go. Okay, bring that in. Bring that in.
Yeah.
When did the MCing come in?
Well, the MCing came late.
Oh, you was a late
I was
hip-hop
a late bloomer, but
How
I was
old were you when
artist.
you got into music and art?
Well, I didn't start creating my own art until I was in my 30s.
Okay. Okay.
Late.
Was that maybe you didn't get to explore that when you was with the white folks in Marin, maybe?
Honestly, I just think that I fell upon it. I started reading later in life too. So
Same here.
I started my vocabulary started expanding.
If you hear this brother rhyme, let me tell you, you're going to learn some words. You might need to have a thesaurus near you because he's well learned.
I appreciate that. So yeah, I got more educated. I learned. I got more vocabulary in my tool belt.
That's right.
And I just became a more of a fan over time.
Yeah.
And then I started off making beats.
Yeah. Okay. Producing.
Beats.
Okay.
And I wanted to make beats for other artists, and it's hard to get.
And you messed around and said, "Look, I'm gonna lay these.
Ain't nobody buying these beats. Let me see. Can I write some?
I'm gonna be the dancer, the producer, the singer, the engineer."
That's exactly how it happened.
I know what you feel.
And then I just wrote something on it and posted on YouTube back in 2008.
Oh, you tell it yourself. You tell it yourself. Okay.
Yeah, and the feedback was good. I was like, oh, I could do that again. Y'all,
right.
Oh, y'all like that?
Yeah.
I could do that again.
I got more. Look. You know how a little kid, when they're like, Dad, look at me. And then they do it over and over again.
Right.
And you started finding stuff. So that must be around the time that I met you performing, because you were performing with Freeze.
Freeze, yeah.
And y'all was rocking.
With
and
Attic Merchants.
Yeah, Attic Merchants. Yeah. Wow. I would have thought you'd been performing all your life and in the arts all your life.
I appreciate that. I was brand new. I was fresh. Now I have been a fan of hip hop,
right? But a creator.
But as far as creating, I just fell upon that.
Another little notch in your tool belt.
Yeah.
So how does hip hop serve you? Because see, we could talk about how code switching,
right?
And we can give all the credit to being professional and assimilation and acting white. Mm-hmm. But I personally feel that hip hop is more of a cornerstone for me and my success as a businesswoman. I'm a great businesswoman. Right. As a businesswoman, and serving in community leadership, I actually feel like hip hop and all of the different avenues and skill sets that I learned from there has been, I won't even say comparable. I've learned more from hip hop than I did in higher education spaces. And I only went to community college for mine. Right. But the combination of hip hop giving me a level of confidence, helping me to learn how to be a woman who expresses herself in a male dominated space, understanding how to craft my own and be original, because biting ain't it in hip hop, right? So you have to have a level of authenticity, and then the ranks you got to go through to find that level of authenticity to putting on all these hats to figure out who you are. So how does hip hop serve you? I don't want to just talk about Marin and code switching. How does hip hop serve you?
I think a lot of the ways that you mentioned, we used to freestyle.
There you go.
Being able to speak off the cuff, come up, be articulate, and how to, I guess, the creativity that hip hop brings, it's something that Black people created.
That's right.
Right. So I feel like when I'm in my lawyer space, I could do my lawyering in a way that I'm creating.
There you
go.
There
I don't have to go off what anybody has done before.
I love it.
And I can just be fearless in
that.
And that's what hip hop is to me. It's like we are creating our own path.
Yes.
And this is something that has never been done.
I love it.
And that's how I want to do my business.
I love it.
That's how I want to treat my clients. And I just don't go off any template that was given to me before. And I
love it. I am a person for autonomy. And if I don't have a sense of autonomy in any kind of situation, arrangement, relationship, I am not functioning at my healthy higher good. At this age of my life now, I know that. And it's not even a lack of commitment to the thing. It's the ability to be flexible and to be swift and changeable in the way I go about executing my mission.
Right.
And so honestly, I'm just saying, this is my observation. I'm gonna let you know from my observation, you're right. Being in that environment at Marin did teach you some things, did give you access to different ways of life. Yeah. But from my honest reflection, it sounds like to me, you're reconnecting with your culture and in the form of how Vallejo served it up in their pot of gumbo for you.
Yeah.
The way hip hop cultivated you. Yeah. I think that was a very big part of your foundation, even outside of your higher education. And that's what I want to get to now.
Yeah.
Because there's a conversation that I want to have with you, which I know is a big part of why you got into the mindfulness. So that's why I called a timeout, because you was going there. I was like, wait, I got to lay out the red carpet for this part.
Right.
Because what I know about you, I don't want to label you, but is it fair to say you were having a mental breakdown based off of pursuing your mission in law? And
fair.
Okay, that's fair. I want to make I want to scare nobody and say like that. It wasn't that bad. But from the times that I've heard from you, and I'd love for you to break this down. Clearly, you've gotten through high school. Did you marry before you pursued law?
Yes.
Okay, so you're married to your beautiful wife. You have how many kids?
Well, at the time we had 3.
Okay, 3 babies. So you were a whole grown man out here, and you decide at what age to become a lawyer?
I I was in my late 20s when I decided to become a lawyer. 28, 29.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
and
yeah, so that was a big step for me because I had before that I was, I put all my eggs into the sports basket. I thought I was going to play professional.
I'm so glad you said that.
Yeah.
Because there are so many brothers that their whole form years in high school is there's only how many slots for it. First of all, what sport were you gonna do?
Well, whichever one took me.
Whichever, I can run the ball, I can reach around the corner, I can dunk it, I can slam it,
Whatever
right?
you want to do.
So,
but at that point, it was football. I was playing football at Sac State.
But there's only so many slots in the world to play pro ball.
Sure.
So what had you come to that conclusion?
That what?
That you weren't going to play professional ball.
Oh, because I didn't make it.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you say it like that. That was so ugly. Because they didn't pick me. That's what they call the new girls these days, the pick-me's, right?
Right.
So what happened when you realized that's not the path that you were working so hard toward?
So at this point, me and my wife were early in our marriage. So I just
And you was babies. You were late 20s.
Babies,
Okay.
Late 20s.
Okay.
No. When I was early 20s.
Oh, see, yeah, y'all was babies. Oh, Lord, yes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, okay.
So we got married when I was 22.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Turned 23. So then I just dove into, I got a job at a temp job.
I know that's right. Yeah, I got babies to feed.
Shoot, I knew how to type.
Okay.
I did know how to type.
ASGF semicolon. Wait, I was, look, I'm old enough. I remember those typing classes.
Yes, I took them typing classes, and I was the type I've always been a learner.
Same here.
Like I will dive in and learn something.
Yeah.
Right. So I learned how to type. I got a job at a temp agency because they needed somebody who could type.
So now you're in an office environment. You're going from being an athlete, student athlete, pursuing your life career in that,
right,
to now, is that when you put your suit on and you try to talk right with your
That's when stuff started switching out.
Okay, that's the cause. Let me get this temp job permanent.
Right. Let me get this temp job permanent. You done lived a little bit.
I done lived a little bit. I'm an old soul.
You done lived a little bit. So that's what I did. I was like, I'm about to make this temp job permanent. And then first of all, I dropped out of college to do this, right?
Where school were you at?
I was at Sac State.
Okay.
My scholarship ran out.
That ball couldn't run that ball no more.
Run that ball for Massa no more.
Couldn't run that ball. Couldn't call your friends in Marianna to give you no money for you and your friend. You had to figure it out.
I had to figure it out. My grades were terrible.
Okay.
My grades, I wasn't focused on school.
Yeah. You was a whole husband and a dad.
I was a whole husband and I was going to the NFL.
That's it.
So what did you need grades for, right?
Yeah.
So get the temp job. I do get hired.
Okay. Okay. Hi.
I got
it was
hired.
The tie.
Right?
I just want you to know it wasn't your skills. It was the tie and your white top.
Right. So I get hired permanent at this call center, and it's for this huge company called EDS.
Okay.
Later got bought out by Hewlett Packard.
Okay.
So I'm working for HP at the call center, and I become a supervisor of this little team. You know what I mean?
Wait a minute.
I'm working myself
Chadwick.
up. And that's a lot of that's personality and just
charm, charisma. You got that mouthpiece.
Working it, mouthpiece.
Right,
yeah,
right.
You know what I'm saying? And I was working hard. In my mind, there's no limit. I could just be the CEO of this company.
Come on, you gonna take it over?
Right, with no
I'm gonna get all the ties. I'm gonna get all the ties.
Right. So I noticed that on the other side, these people were driving different type of cars. The people on the call center side, we was all kind of seemed like we was all struggling. The people over there,
they had a different
lifestyle. So I wanted to know what they was doing.
What's they doing over there?
So the system that we were using to take in the calls and to enter the information, the people who were creating that system, the computer programmers, were on the other side.
Okay.
And they needed somebody who knew the system well to go over there and test the system. So I went over and tested the system.
You sniffed
for
it
him.
out,
I was like, these people are different over here. I want to do this. So I told him I had a computer science degree.
Was you telling the truth?
I was telling.
Okay.
Oh no, I was not telling the truth.
You were not being a child of God.
I was not being a child of God at the time. I had to tell them.
You was being resourceful and creative with your narrative.
I told them I had a couple classes left and I'd be done. So they said, okay, there's this IED program. They send you to Michigan and they teach you how to be a computer programmer.
Okay. You found your way.
Girl, me and my wife.
Sometimes we got to do what we got to do.
We did.
Are you mad at her for doing it, mama? Okay, all right.
We went to Michigan for 9 weeks. I went and did that boot camp, that computer. Next thing you know, I came back a whole computer programmer with no degree. So I was faking it. But I had a job. I was hired permanent, and that was the beginning of our career. You know, that was the beginning of my career.
In the professional realm, outside of being an athlete.
Outside. So that was the first career. So I did that for like 5 years.
Okay.
And I started to realize that there is a ceiling here. I can't go up anymore.
Okay.
Right? So now I'm like, okay, if I could do anything in my life and there was no limitations on what I could do, what would I want to do?
And what you come up with?
At the time, I was reading these fiction books by John Grisham about, he was a lawyer and he was doing all.
He's like, I'm gonna be a lawyer.
Girl, I was like, I'm gonna be a lawyer.
And how did your wife respond to this? Your 20-something young wife with 3 kids, and you finally got on your feet. And was you almost to the other side with the big cars over there?
No, I mean, we was struggling still.
Okay, so
we was popping out kids.
She's like, wait a minute, what are we doing now? So how did you get to the lawyer track?
Well, I had to go back. Well, first I had some proving to do. You can say you're going to be a lawyer. I want to be a lawyer. And they're like, Chad, you're going to be a lawyer? Okay.
You remember them classes you dropped out of? You got to finish those first.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
So then I just said, okay, I'm about to just show. I'm just going to show and prove. I want to just show. So I went back to undergrad, and now I'm focused.
Okay.
So now it's just like a different level of maturity, a different level of focus. I got kids,
right?
And all this. So I finished my undergrad.
Okay.
And
here we go.
Applied to law school.
What was that like? What is it like to apply for law school?
Well, at this time, like I said, I was so focused. I knew that when I went back to finish now, when you take a break in college and then you go back 5 years later, they add classes, right? So now,
remember that math you did 17 years ago?
That don't count no more.
That don't count no more.
Right. So it gave me an opportunity to reestablish myself.
Good.
Right? So I have my transcripts. They go, in
looking
the beginning,
good.
bad. There's a gap, and then now they're good.
Yeah.
Like
okay.
All A's, straight A's.
That had to have been good for your confidence as a scholar.
And then I used to read, I used to just carry around books because I wanted to feel smarter.
Yeah.
I used to read and highlight words and look them up in the dictionary.
Yes.
And I was just really trying to change myself.
Yes.
I wanted to see myself as not just an athlete. I wanted to see myself as an academic.
Come on.
So that's when I just started learning and just reading and just studying. And then I was like, I'm going to do it. So
I'm gonna do it.
I applied at
Where'd you apply?
At McGeorge.
Okay.
School of Law.
In the P?
Yeah, in the P.
Look, I just want you to know that for those of you that don't live in Sacramento, California, McGeorge Law School is in the hood.
Yes,
okay.
It is. Yes. McGeorge is UOP.
Yeah.
It's extended campus there. That's the only school. That was my only option. That was my only choice. And I got in, girl.
What happened when you got in? How'd you feel?
Girl, I was crying in tears. I was so happy. I was like, yes. And then it was like the reality hit me. Like,
oh my.
Now I'm in law school. Like, this is really
So how does life change? Becoming a husband, a father, a returning to school late in life, college student. And then you get in, you're like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
So what happens?
So now I got a full-time job, right? I'm working full-time as a computer fake. I'm still got
it's not fake. You just faked how you got there, but you are trained.
Right.
Okay, all right.
I was really, it was still a difficult job for me because
it took a lot.
I didn't have the training. I didn't have the schooling. Right?
Yeah. You're building the plane while you.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I'm full-time as a computer programmer, and now I'm going to law school at night. So, and law school, it's just because it's night school, it's not a temporary. It's not a temporary. It's like a full-time, rigorous.
You're just doing it in a smaller amount of time.
Girl.
And then gotta go home and be husband.
And then gotta go home and be husband. And this is before any type of consciousness, any type of spiritual. This is when I thought I was just
going on fumes and alpha, and I'm the greatest student in the world.
Yes, all ego, just thinking I can do it.
So what's starting to happen to you mentally and emotionally? Because that's a lot of weight to carry.
Then, it didn't take long. Once I got in law school, once I started getting these assignments and all the reading, Then all the pressure of everything, I had my first panic attack.
What happened?
I'm in class. I'm in class.
In front of people?
Girl, you know the stadium seats?
Yes.
It's where the professors.
You had a whole audience.
Girl, I'm sitting in class, and I can remember to this day, the professor is saying, yeah, this, so I want you to read from page, for example, 173 to 285. And then I want you to brief these things. And then I'm thinking about all the work I have to do with my job.
No.
And I got to do this reading. And then next thing you know, I just started panicking, in
What was
class.
happening to you?
Like, my heart started beating real hard out of my chest.
That's always the first thing.
That's the first thing. And then my mind just starts telling me like all the doomsday, like not necessarily related to this class, like everything negative at once that my mind was telling me. Like I was just just fear, panic. And
what I got to do at work, the kids, my wife, did all of it.
I'm going to die.
Yeah.
Oh, you're about to die. You're having a heart attack.
Every possible thought.
Every single thing. So I get up and I'm like, pardon me. I'm walking down the aisle. I left all my stuff there. Excuse me, pardon me, excuse me. The professor's just looking up like, what is he doing?
Oh, no.
I'm like, but at this point, I don't care who's looking. I don't care about anything. I'm about to die.
Right. Oh, my gosh.
Right?
So what happened?
So I just leave out of the classroom and I go to the water fountain. And I just start throwing water in my face.
Anything to get your senses.
Yeah.
Is it working?
Not. The panic kept going at that point, right?
Oh, no.
So then I just go to my car and I'm just sitting in the car and I'm just trying to breathe. I'm trying to think.
So if a person walked by, they would have thought you was crazy.
For sure. So I remember specifically trying to think of cartoons, like think of SpongeBob, think of something happy, think of something funny.
Not SpongeBob. I'm sorry, I ain't trying to laugh at you. That made sense.
It's funny now, but it was scary. Like, and then so I'm driving and I have my window down and I'm like literally holding my head out. And now, mind you, I'm going home. But I can't, me and my wife at the time, we aren't on the best terms.
You doing all this stuff too. You can't be showing up 100% for her.
No.
Okay.
I am not showing up 100%.
Okay.
And I'm paranoid and I'm accusatory.
Yeah.
And
so you were already behind the scenes starting to break down.
Yeah, already. Yeah. Okay. God was already saying, okay, you want to handle it yourself?
Okay, keep doing that. You don't see how that works out for you. Yeah.
Exactly.
So how do you come out of this panic?
I get home. I don't come out of the panic until like I'm like in the bed and like something kind of calms me down. I think I had like a thought that said, this is stress. So that was it just occurred to me that this was stress. And then something about that made me kind of.
Just being able to identify.
That it was stress.
Okay.
Because I didn't know it was stress. I thought I was just.
And we talk about stress in culture all the time. Yeah. Like, stress will kill you. And look, you talk about, I'm about to have a heart attack and die. And it took for you to have your head out the window like a dog, go all the way home. You left your stuff at the schoolhouse.
No, and then when I got home, I think I had some type of alcohol.
And take a little chug of that.
Take a little chug of that.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
To every possible thing around you.
Ain't nothing's working. So then I just go lay in the bed.
And this is your first year in school. How many years did you go to law school?
4 years.
This is the first. Was this the first semester?
Yes, first semester.
I'm sorry. I keep laughing at you. I'm not trying to laugh at you in a bad way. You got a long way to go.
Girl. And then, let me tell you this. So now, the next day, whenever you have a panic attack like that, you always think you're going to have another panic attack.
The paranoia kicks in.
Right? So then I'm always like, is this a panic attack? Is this a panic attack? And I don't want my wife to know. I don't want nobody.
So you're trying to mask this from her and you in the bed?
I never told anybody. I was having these panic attacks.
In hindsight, did people know or you were that good of an actor?
No. I kept it.
That makes it 10 times worse.
I kept it all to myself.
Oh, gosh.
All throughout law school.
So this is year one. So are you having these panic attacks 2, 3?
They were spread out at first. Like I didn't have another one. Like maybe for maybe another month or so.
And it never occurred to you to maybe get some mental health help to see if there.
Not at all.
Oh, why you screw your face up?
Not
Was the
at
brother
all.
too good for therapy?
No, because I was too, like, I just thought I could handle it. I just felt like I could handle it.
Quick pause. Can you dive into that for just 2 or 3 more minutes on that? I want you to look in the camera. There's some brothers right now in law school who may or may not have a woman or a girlfriend or a wife or children or all of the above or responsibilities or full-time job. I want you to look in that camera and speak to them right now, because I know we're going to get to the other side of this story.
Yeah.
But that brother needs to hear something who's been through that idea of, I can handle this stress. Look at that camera right there. What would you say to them?
I will tell you that every man or every woman has their breaking point. You cannot handle it yourself. And, if you can get help, I would say get help. Your mental health is more important than whatever goal you're trying to accomplish.
Yes.
At the end of the day.
That's it.
That's it.
Say it again. Say it one more again. One more time.
And in that last statement, your mental health is much more important than any goal that you are trying to accomplish. Your dreams and aspirations can wait until you are healed.
Yes. Yeah.
And, otherwise, you may accomplish whatever.
There's no achieving that without your
You're going to sabotage.
Is it really achievement if you are losing your scruples?
No.
Is it really success if you're losing your mind?
It's not, and you're going to sabotage it. And you're going to take steps forward, then you're going to take 2 steps back, and then you're going to take a step forward, then you're going to take 3 steps back, and then you're going to sabotage your relationships, because mental health, if you're at war within, then you're at war in your life.
Everything is a battle with everywhere.
Everything is a battle.
Yeah.
Everything is a battle.
Thank you for that, because I know there's a brother right now,
absolutely
stressed out, might be having a panic attack right now.
Right.
So that was the first semester. Girl. You got 4, 5 years. So you go year after year having these panic attacks. Yeah. You're not telling anybody. Now, one of the brief conversations we had long ago was the premise of the bar.
Oh yeah. Oh, but the bar. So the bar.
What happened was
no. See, the bar. By the time I took the bar, I was on my healing. I was on the healing side.
Okay, so let's back up then.
Yeah.
How many of these panic attacks for how many years silently did you have to go through it before you got help? Girl. And what kind of help did you get?
So let me tell you what happened. Over the 4 years, my panic attacks got progressively worse.
So what were they at their extreme?
They were just more frequent. Like they weren't. Like I knew about panic attacks, so I wouldn't go into the full on panic. But they were just more. Like I was triggered easy. So like I might be in a social setting where everybody else is just chilling, and then all of a sudden
the nervous system
I gotta go take a walk.
Now at this point that they're getting more frequently, is your wife noticing? Because you're masking, because you'll go take a walk and make it look like everything's.
I just get away from everybody, or figure out how to come out. I started creating.
Well, that's
tools.
the performance artist in you,
That's
right?
It, and just figure out how to manage it, get out of it and say, it's a panic attack. This is just a panic attack. This is just a panic attack, So
what is it starting to do to you? What is it chipping away at? Because even though you're managing on the exterior, you're not letting the loved ones in your life know about it. Yeah. Something's being defeated in the process.
Well, it's chipping away at my relationships.
Okay.
Mainly.
So are you short with them? Are you less patient?
Everything.
Okay, go on and look in the camera and bust yourself out.
Yeah,
this your opportunity. Even though I'm sure you've said apologies or whatever, I need you to do it on camera for those fellow leaders right now. What was you doing in your relationship to tell on yourself? What was you at your steak worst? Come on, get it off your chest. Come on. At your funky, stanky, dirty draw worst. Go on, tell them. Don't look at me, tell them.
Oh.
What was the result of this stress and denying the anxiety that was growing and increasing steadily in your life, in your mind, in your heart?
Well, I would say, first of all, I made myself feel so alone that no one could get in. Everybody was just everybody was external, and everybody was basically an enemy to me. Everybody was against me. My wife, my professors, everybody was just the enemy in a way, and I felt like I always had, it was me against the world in a way, and as a result, I was just not very, I was just secretive, not trustworthy. Like when you have a lot of secrets, you assume everybody else has a lot of secrets.
I'm dirty, so everybody else 2 times dirty.
Yeah. So you just, I project that out on my wife. I project it out on my loved ones. And, my professor, if he says something to correct me, it's because he don't like me personally.
Oh, because you a black man.
Yeah. Just
all that.
Taking it personal. Yeah. And like, it's a conspiracy against me. Everybody.
So you were paranoid.
Girl. My mind had malfunctioned at that point.
There you go.
I was just off kilter. I was imbalanced. So one day I'm okay. I could be,
back and forth.
Good, but the next day you just never know. I'm gonna have an attitude. I'm gonna go off,
and I don't say, and I don't ask this to hold you hostage to that point.
Yeah.
But a big part of Refreshing Convos is allowing people who are on the side of healing and are on a trajectory of wellness to really openly share. Like, what they say, I was born like this. You a dang lie.
No,
right?
No.
So it sounds like, because by the time you got to the bar, you said you were on your mindfulness journey, which was a big turning point for you. So what begins to happen? Where you go to get help? You did something to switch it up and get out of this private hell that you were going through.
It's the craziest story. I mean,
tell it.
So I'm studying for my very last set of finals.
Before what?
Before I graduate from law school. So first I got to graduate from law school before I even think about taking the bar.
Okay.
So I signed up to take the bar.
Okay, good.
And
you made it. That's good.
I'm about to take
let me clap
and
for
I'm
you.
Studying for my last. I made it all the way through.
Look, my
right?
little tail is wagging. I got help. Look, I'm talking to his wife off camera. We made it, baby. We made it.
But she don't know what she in for. We ain't on the other side quite yet. But
so you get through those tests?
I'm actually studying for my final set of exams. I'm at Borders Books and I'm just studying, and I had times of focus.
Okay.
Times of panic, times of focus, times of peace, times of hell, right? So I'm studying for my exams and I put the book down. I decided to just kind of take a break from studying and just walk around Borders Books, just to take a break. And I looked down on the bottom shelf of this,
I can see it. I can see you pointing at it.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right there. And it's a book called The Power of Now. Somebody else had told me about that book before, and I was like, oh, there's that book, just that casual. I just go grab it, just pick it up and start reading this book. And right there in Borders Books, I'm reading this book, and I have what I can only describe as a spiritual
I'm a sentimental person, so I like when the stories start going good, especially when it's scary and you treat people mean and you're losing your mind. So tell me, what was that? What does a spiritual awakening mean for you? Because you're reading a book.
So I'm reading a book, and something that I read caused me to realize in that moment that my thoughts, that I was not my thoughts. Something that I read made me think, oh, you are not your thinking. So then that also registered to me with my panic attacks, like, oh, wait a second. If I am not my thinking, my thoughts are what's creating my panic attacks. And then I just went silent. Like
that
it was
feel
just
like
peace. I just got overcome with peace, like peace beyond anything that I could even explain.
You got some medicine.
Girl.
Yeah.
It was just the aha moment is an understatement. It's just not an aha moment.
Yeah.
This was an awakening. Okay.
Look, let me take a deep breath for you. How old are you now?
So now I am, so this is end of law school. So this is 2009.
I'm feeling your peace for you. I feel all the swarming thoughts and feelings coming to quiet.
A vacuum. Do you hear me? So now my heart
like,
starts
"What's
beating again.
Oh, wait, no, it feels too good.
No, but it's a different.
Okay, good.
It's a different beat.
It's a
like,
deep,
It's like a deep
resonating.
pulsing,
Yeah.
and I'm at peace, and I'm crying. I'm holding
Oh,
this
that
book.
baby was in Borders crying his little face off.
I did not care.
That's all right.
And I was just at peace, and I just didn't want that to go away. So I just stood there.
You like, I need more of this.
And I just breathed, and I just was at peace, like quiet. I wasn't thinking about the future or the past.
Right.
I wasn't trying to figure out what is happening.
You were in the now.
I was in the now. I was literally just at peace.
I'm so glad you surrendered to pulling that book off that shelf.
Girl.
So what does the power of now, this deep spiritual awakening, this newfound sense of peace, what does it do for you as you go take this test and in the bar?
Yeah. So I leave this school. I mean, I leave the Borders, and I'm driving home, and I'm still feeling this overwhelmed peace. Like, this is not going away. I knew from that moment on, I would never have another panic attack.
Come on now.
Again.
And did it happen?
No, I never have had a panic attack since.
That's wonderful. I love happy stories.
Right. It's like you can't see, if somebody tells you Santa Claus doesn't exist, once you know
You ain't
that,
waiting for that fat white man to come down the chimney no more.
Ever again.
Mama got them gifts.
Right. If my mind tries to turn and attack its host,
You like, quit playing.
I'll be like, boy, if
That, and you know what? That is a true sign of maturity and ascension.
Yeah.
That happened to me the other day. I tried to get an attitude about something, and I was like, that's not even how you act no more. You trying to convince yourself to get mad at somebody. That doesn't work.
You are not that. I am not that anymore.
Not that. You could get with this, or you could get with that. You could get with this, or you could get with that.
Right.
All right. So you got with it, and what happened?
I got with it. So then I'm able to study in peace, quiet.
Does this start impacting your relationships?
Girl, immediately.
Look, I feel like I want to pull your wife out.
No,
Be like, is he telling the truth?
Hold on,
Just
hold
say
on.
yes or no out loud. Wait, hold on, what? Okay.
So but she's being kind.
Okay.
I will say this, that in the beginning. I tell her I have a spiritual awakening, but
she looking like you was just stank to me in the kitchen yesterday.
Like, how am I supposed to believe?
It takes time.
It takes time. You can't just...
How much time did it take for it to actually, so this deep sense of peace resonate with you, but then really start to land on your family?
It was a gradual thing because you know what? It was so transformative that it was almost selfish. Because I would like for the next however long, like I ended up finishing law school.
Yay!
When all my friends were studying for the bar and getting ready for the bar, I was walking to the river and sitting at the river.
That's my favorite place.
All day long.
So were you able to retain information now? Was your mind starting to operate differently in your studying now that you're not harboring the anxiety that you had been doing for so long?
I mean, I think I was always able to cram in information and regurgitate it.
MC.
So I was able to do that. But I'm talking about after I finished my last finals, graduated from law school. And now I'm supposed to be waiting for the bar. And my wife is like, so you taking the bar? And I'm like, I'm not taking the bar. I'm Jesus now.
Oh, no! She said, I know the hell you not.
She was like, no, I am not playing with you. I was so sincere. I was like, babe, I
have my great awakening.
Yes.
Thou shalt not be a lawyer.
Yes. Like I was.
And you were serious? Okay, so how long did it take for her to snap you out of that?
Years.
So you waited to take the bar years? How long can you? Don't ain't there expiration?
Ain't no expiration. You can take it.
So when did you go take the bar?
I graduated in 2009. I didn't take the bar until 2015.
Wait a minute. So what was you doing in between the time?
Meditating, putting on workshops.
Well, what made
you out in the community?
So you were that's when you started teaching mindfulness.
That's when I started teaching mindfulness. That's when I went hard.
And that's such a big part of your purpose work as well.
Absolutely.
But okay, so you start teaching the mindfulness, which is wonderful because we need all the non-traditional entry points to mental health, especially in our community where we have so much systemic distrust for doing things the clinical route, at least initially.
Right.
And that was a positive. You still do that, right?
Yeah, and I didn't in the beginning. I wasn't even calling it mindfulness.
Yeah.
I didn't even have a box for it. All I know is I read this book,
and you was ready to share
had a spiritual awakening, and I wanted to share.
And I am Black Jesus.
Girl, I didn't care. I was talking to strangers. I was literally talking to people everywhere. I just wanted to spread it.
That's beautiful.
It was such a transformation. It was just like you go from one moment to having panic attacks to next moment you're at peace.
Well, when you are feeling this element of healing, you do want to share it with others.
You want to share.
Joyful Lord.
Yes. But I was crazy though.
You got a little extreme with it.
A little extreme.
Okay, so what was the equalizer to bring you in a not an extreme place, but a way of life?
I think just time. I just had to.
Because that's how it is when you find something too. Like you be like, you want to evangelize everybody. I was born again. I'm gonna save everybody. So time went by. So
and
how did
humility, like, because you get this spiritual awakening and you have God gives you all the peace, right? And it's just okay. You got it. Okay, you're healed in a sense, right? Now, when your mind tries to process it, it doesn't know how to process. Those are spiritual things. Yeah, those
and it's not right.
And then you try to process it with your little
peon brain,
little ego.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. It kind of does. You start judging people. Like my wife is a Christian. She loves Jesus.
Yes.
But I wanted to kind of explain to her that I had this spiritual awakening. It had nothing to do with Jesus, right? And I had to convince, and
that's when it gets toxic.
And that's when. So now I got to go through a whole nother maturity level.
Very good you did it though.
Absolutely, because humility is the real teacher, right? Then I realized
Not
I had
judgment.
this spiritual awakening, but I didn't have the humility.
Right.
That had to
balance out with maturity.
And my wife, she just don't really play that. Like she don't care about your
spirituality. You know what? You miss me with that. Look, I'm showing my age. That's when you say you can miss me with that,
you can
right?
Miss me with all that.
Keep your ego at the door. You can meditate all you want, but don't come around here act like you the Jesus, right? Okay.
That's my wife right there.
And so she helped you to mature into that.
The perfect
partner. Yeah.
She helped me to mature into that. And then when I matured, it took some years.
Okay.
It took some years.
That's honest.
And when I did mature, I calmed down. I stopped trying to convince everybody of anything.
Right.
It was
I'm going to convert you to mindfulness.
Any type of offering I gave was just strictly open. And it was just, if you need it, you need it. If you don't,
take it or receive
it. And then next thing you know, my relationship started to heal.
Blossoming,
started to heal. And, the relationship healed. And then I started being okay with getting back into, because I had took myself out of the matrix, like of the hustle and bustle.
You're like, I'm on off the spiritual grid now.
I didn't care about none of that. Yeah. But then after I calmed down, I was like, okay, you gotta still feed your family and stuff like that.
So is this one the lawyer?
I started teaching at the junior college. I started teaching business law, and somebody at the school at one of the dean of the business law, he was like, why don't we take the bar together? And I was like, okay, let's do it. And then
how did that go?
And then I actually was 2014 when I took it the first time.
Okay.
So
wait, the first time? How many times did it take it, man?
Took twice. I took it twice.
What happened the first time?
I took that L on that first one.
There's a long spread in between. Now, did your anxiety pop up then?
No.
Okay, so then you go back. So how long? You didn't wait another 15, 11 years to go back and take it the second time, did you?
I took it in 2014. We got the bad news together as a family. It hurt. I just took it, and I just realized it's just another level of studying. It's another level of preparation.
So when do you go back and take it again?
The following year.
And how'd you do?
And that time I passed.
And you became a lawyer.
Girl, I became a lawyer.
I'm a lawyer now.
Yes. And it worked out. So it just so happens that when I was waiting on my bar results, I was teaching a mindfulness class.
Okay.
And, I was in small talk and they were asking me about my bar results. I was letting them know they were coming. And then after the mindfulness workshop, the host, she said, there was somebody in the audience who wants to take you to lunch. And it just so happened to be Ed Smith, one of the top personal injury lawyers in the area.
That's your new mentor and
he offered me a job at lunch I quit my job of 16 years with EDS or HC.
Now I gotta bust you out.
Let me hear it.
You wasn't code switching. You was just being yourself, and he saw it, right?
Oh, girl, I was being authentic as
I just had to put my little point out there. It didn't have nothing to do with your pig
right.
your white voice.
None of that.
So out the bat, you become a lawyer and you get hired.
And I got hired in this job, and I just quit. Had no experience, no internships. I was an evening student with a day job. Right?
Come on.
He hired me as a personal injury lawyer. Okay, yeah. I was an injury lawyer with a personal. I was an injury lawyer now, and life was good.
And now tell us. So now we're here. So what is the name of your practice?
My practice is called Mindful Injury Law.
Say it again. Look at the camera and tell them how they can find you too.
Mindful Injury Law, and that's where you find me on Instagram, social media, TikTok, whatever. Just at Mindful Injury Law, and that's where I do my thing out there.
Now tell me, as we come to a close, because this has been a beautiful journey, right? Learning who you are as a young man, going through your shifts of exploring who you are and your identity. Being from one contrast and extreme to the other. Also, not to leave out your parents going through their healing process, and I'm sure how that was foundational to you.
Absolutely.
Understanding the power of healing relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward, again, going through that identity shift of, I'm not an athlete, which we identified a lot of young brothers. Being an athlete does get them into positive spaces through their developmental and educational years, but sometimes they put all those eggs in one basket and don't prepare for other options.
Absolutely.
Finding again your new identity in the professional realm.
Yeah.
Finding your identity again as a scholar and committing to your education. Finding yourself again through a spiritual awakening after suffering from some extreme mental and emotional health issues as a result of secretly panicking and having anxiety attacks.
Yes.
And then finding yourself again in a new space, in your own peace, healing your relationship with your wife. And I'm assuming if you heal with your wife, you begin to heal your relationships with your children.
Everybody.
Everybody.
With everybody.
And then coming back to that point of re-entering into your mission of becoming a lawyer.
Yeah.
And now you've married that, even in the title of your practice.
Yes.
In closing, what's your reflection on just this, this journey that you shared? I know you know it. I know your woman knows it. Your wife knows it.
Yeah.
But what is your closing reflection after just going through this in fullness? How do you feel? What comes to the front? What is your reflection on your refresh session?
Right. Well, I would say that, my life began to heal when I put my mental health first.
Come on, say it again. Look in the camera. Tell them again.
My life began to heal when I put my mental health first, and then everything heals around that. My professional life, my relationships, everything begins to flourish.
Yeah.
Right? It's like the cheat code. Like if you just ignore everything and you just focus on your mental health, and then everything else will take care of itself. And that's just how things operate. That's how it's supposed to work.
Beautiful.
You want to love your self-love.
Beautiful. And look, as an old school head MC, I'm going to remix the cheat code. We're going to call it the win code.
Yes.
Because we ain't cheating at all.
We ain't cheating. We winning.
When you're cheating, you serve it everything but God.
Right.
When you're winning, you're in alignment with what Creator wanted.
Absolutely.
Down to that book being on that bottom shelf.
Right.
And being a part of the salvation in your mission.
I could not have made that story up.
I'm so glad you came here to share today.
I'm so glad.
And look, it took us about 11 months to get here.
Girl.
And it is as divine as I imagine it to be.
I appreciate that. Look, I wish we could just have we gotta have more conversations.
I mean, you make your content all the time, so you can invite me to your space now. We can have some intellectual conversations.
It's my turn.
But I want you all who tuned in today to understand now in fullness after this experience, you can see that this brother put himself through a rites of passage into manhood, along with his wife pouring into him through the changes and adapting, along with him taking accountability for his mental health. There are so many people who place themselves in positions of leadership by doing the hard work on the exterior to be able to make the grades, to make the marks, to fulfill status quo, and they're crumbling behind the scenes.
Right.
The purpose to Refreshing Convos is to make sure that we can do those deep reflections, that we could talk about our dark side, and we could show how through that experience we've evolved into the light of the Most High and serving our purpose. I feel that if we do this more often, we get rid of the guilt and the shame and the secrecy that tends to have us losing some of our genius leaders and some of our amazing movements, because those things begin to seep out and they begin to morph and change into things that are just the opposite of what our God-given purpose is. So I thank you again for coming here and being with us. For those of you who are tuning in for the first time, hit the subscribe so you can come on back, because we want to not only refresh us one person at a time and one leader at a time, but we want to be open and transparent about those experiences so that you can get the win code on the process. So thank you again. This is Miss Marianna. Until next time, Refreshing Convos.